This recording will be available in YouTube. I will provide that link as a private access. Okay. No need to worry about it. Will you all able to see my screen? Please say yes, so that it will
Yes.
I can. Yeah.
Oh, fine. Anybody tell me what is application? Anybody tell me what is an application? Come on, speak out. Whatever you know, you can tell. What is application? Anybody can tell me? Ganesh? What is Bhagavi? If you are not aware of it, no problem. You just tell what is application. Why do we need an application? Why people are asking to develop application?
Yeah, I think it transforms our data from client to customer, like that application we have used.
So basically, application is used to build applications. Will you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Application is used to build in terms of storing, retrieving, deleting data, right?
Yes. Yeah.
From the database.
Yeah.
That is the main advantage. The main advantage of application is storing or deleting or retrieving the data from the database.
Yes.
This is the main purpose. Why do we need an application? What are all the different types of applications we have? Let's take an example. I will show you one example. If you look into here, I did a one small example. Yeah. So this is one of my application which will have this is my basic MVC application. Okay. This is my basic MVC application, which will build only on the ASP.NET MVC core. Okay. It is related to best store application. What happened? It will show all the store details. I will connect with that. I will try to make an application. Okay. It is purely developed in ASP.NET MVC core. Ganesh, Judy, can you add some people so that they can log in the group?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure.
See, you see here, this is the application we are developing. Okay. It is purely developed in .NET Core. Now you see here. You see there is a home, store, privacy. If you click on store, you will get list of products available. These are all the products available. Okay. You see, when I click on add to cart, this product will be added in the cart here. Cart is added or not? When you click on that, you see the Samsung Galaxy card has been added. When you click, the rate will be added. This is how
Yes.
you have to build the application. Where the data of this application will be available? Anyone can tell me where this data of this application will be available? Where data will be stored in this application?
I
Come
mean, in
on.
database, like we have a
Data will be
database like
stored in the database.
database. Yes, like MySQL or something.
Example, MS SQL Server or MySQL or PostgreSQL, etc. There are a lot of other databases are available. Okay,
Yeah.
the applications are broadly classified into two types. Applications are broadly classified into two types. One is monolithic architecture. Monolithic architecture. Second one is microservice architecture. Microservice architecture. The one which we are seeing is monolithic architecture. This application has no microservices. Everything will be in a single project. That is why this project will be called as a monolithic architecture. Why I am saying monolithic architecture, I will explain. Will you all able to see my paint?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Now in this, I am going to have a browser here. Assume this is your browser. In this browser, you are going to enter www.google.com. What will happen? When you enter a google.com in this browser will hit a web server here.
Yeah.
Got my point?
Yes.
Everybody clear? In this web server, you see there is a web server. Let me change the font so that you can understand properly. Hold on a second.
It is like data center, sir, like that.
Okay, I'm coming. 2 minutes. Let me change the font.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Now, what will happen when you have a server? This is my web server. This is my web server. Okay, it contains n number of web application. Okay, so whenever you make a request, that request will go and give the connect with this web server. Okay, once you make a call to the web server will process the request and return the response back to the browser. Are you got my point? Everybody clear till that
Yes.
point? So here I have n number of web applications. I have facebook.com, I have google.com, I have swiggy.com, like that n number of applications. What is the request I made here? Is it a facebook.com or google.com or here I have a facebook.com. Okay. Here I have a google.com. Here I have a eStore.com, or yeah, we can make it as eStore.com. Whenever user enters here as a eStore.com in the browser, that browser will detect this server and detect this web application. Browser will detect this google.com, and then it will detect this web server. After that, it will comes to eStore.com. Or you got my point? So that is the main reason we are having the web server technology. So this one, we will call it as a web client. This one will be call it as a web client. What are all the web clients we have right now? Anyone can tell me? What are all the web clients we have? Chrome is one of the web client. Firefox is one of the web client. Okay, Chrome is one of the web client. Firefox is one of the web client. Macintosh is one of the browser. Like that, so many browsers are there. Internet Explorer, IE is one of the browser. So through with the help of web client, it will automatically detect the web server and find that particular google.com and send the response back to the client. How the data is going to be transferred? Anybody tell me? How the data going to be transferred?
So, like it's like code.
Come again?
I mean, data.
Always data
way.
transfer in two ways. When you make a request to the client to server or server to client, the data will be transferred in two ways. I will tell you what are all those ways.
And the binomial thing.
Either an XML format or JSON format.
But yes.
Or you got my point?
Yes.
The date from client machine to server, the data will be transferred in a format of XML or JSON. If you want to make a request from web client, the web client will pass data in a format of XML or JSON that will go to your web server, which is called eStore.com. Or you got my point? Once the eStore has been processed the request, it will return the data back to the XML or JSON. Till now, everybody is clear? Anybody have any questions?
Sir, there is XML and JSON is other than any format we have, sir?
That is more than enough. 80% to 90% people will transfer data only in XML or JSON.
Okay, sir.
So if you look into this application will make a request. If you go to inspect element, listen carefully in the inspect element in the network. Click on register. What will happen? We'll see. Click on store. Now what happened when you make a store, you see there is a request made. I'll show you the request. There is a request made. When you click on this request, it has an header, response header, and response body. Will you all able to see the response header and response body? Say yes or no?
Yes.
Why? Because the data, whatever we are seeing, transferred into format. Hold on a second. This is my HTTP request. This is my HTTP HTTP request. Okay. Whenever you make a request from client to browser to server, it will be treated as an HTTP request. Whereas in the HTTP request, you will have two information. One is header and body. Always JSON can be classified as two types. Okay. The data will be transferred in two ways. One is header. Another one is body. Now you understand? You understand?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Whenever you make a request from client to server, the client will send us an HTTP request. The moment you make a request as HTTP request, you will get a header as well as body. And then this server detect this request. This server will detect this request. Which request? Which request it will detect? HTTP
HTTP.
request. Once it detects that, it will process the request, send a response back to the browser. Okay, send a response back to the browser. Sir, in what format the response will be given back? In what format response will be given back? The response will be given back in a format of HTTP response.
Okay.
Got it?
Yes,
Sir,
yes.
do the same kind of header and body available in the HTTP response? Yes, sir. I have HTTP response with an header and then send a response body. Now you all understand how the communication of one client to server. Now you all understand typically how the client to server will be processed. Judy,
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes.
others,
Yes. Yeah,
Yes.
Bhargavi,
Yes, sir.
Ganesh,
yes, sir. Yes, yes.
who else is there? Amar Venkat, Praneeth, Preeti,
Yes, sir.
Yes.
everybody clear?
Yes, sir.
So always request and response traverse in a format of HTTP. Or you got my point? The request and response will be traversed in a format of HTTP. If you don't have HTTP request, what will happen? Your data will not be traversed. Sir, what is monolithic architecture? Monolithic architecture means, let's take an example. Let me have one more UI. Let me take, are you, if you want, you can take the picture of this in your phone or mobile. If you are in front of mobile, you can take this picture.
Yes, sir. I did.
Everybody, once done, let me know.
Done, sir.
Done, sir.
Okay. Now, sir, what is monolithic architecture? See, I want to build a e-store project. Okay, in my browser. E-store application. Now tell me what are all the functionalities are available in e-store. Think in such a way, you want to build a e-store application. What are all the functionalities you can have? Come on, guys, you have to speak.
Delete, add.
First thing is user management module, right? Where user can able to log in into application, try to buy the product, or admin can log in into an application, try to load the product into the application. Am I right or wrong? First one is user management. Second one is product management. Third one is payment module. Fourth one is dispatcher module. Fifth one is reports module. How many modules are there? How many modules are there?
5.
5 modules. Any e-store application, you will have 5 modules. All these modules, I'm going to have a web server in which I'm going to deploy a web application here. And this web application will have a database. Where is database? Nowhere it is. So think this is your database. Okay. And you will have a database. So what will happen? How the data will be traversed from client to server? Which one is server? This one is server or not? Say yes or no. Web?
Yes, yes.
Web server.
Web server.
Okay. And e-store application will be deployed here. This is your e-store application. This is your e-store application. And this is your e-store database. E-store database. Clear my point? I have a e-store application. I have a e-store database. Now my question here is, whenever you make a request from browser to this application, it will talk to the database, send the response, and that response will given back to the client. Make sense or not? Make
Yes.
sense or not?
Yes, sir.
With respect of user management, with respect of product management, with respect of payment, with respect of dispatcher, with respect of report. All these things are common. Now, sir, I want to have a small modification in application called user management. Do I need to deploy the entire solution or a single solution, only user management module in this particular deployment?
User management.
You can't do it, right? Because everything will be combined in a single project as a service, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Am I right or wrong?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, when you make a project as a single service, what will happen? Any small change you made in the application, you need to deploy everything. Is it a good practice or bad practice?
Yes, yes.
Is it a
No,
good practice
sir.
or bad practice?
Good
Sir,
practice.
I think it's not a good practice.
Yes, it is not a good practice. Why? Because when you deploy product management, it may break the entire solution. So that in production, you will feel a lot of issues. You got my point? Instead, I convert this entire user management as a separate service, product management as a separate service, payment management as a separate service, dispatcher as a service, and report as a service. What will happen? Whenever you make change in the user management, you are going to deploy only the user management. You are not going to worry about product management, payment management, dispatcher management, and report management. Make sense or not?
Yes.
Why? Because if you make a small change in that web application or a service, what will happen? The entire application need to be deployed. Before deploying the entire application, you need to test all the functionalities. Is it really required? Think as a bigger project. Think as a longer, you are working in MNC where you want to think as a longer way. You created a single application with the 5 modules like this, the one which I created here. You see, I had all the modules. How many modules I have in this project? You see how many controllers I have in this project? How many controllers I have? You have to speak.
8.
8 controllers. That means 8 different modules I have. All the modules are in a single project. Whenever I make a change in my card controller, I need to deploy everything at a single shot. Is it a right practice or a bad practice? Come on. Is it a good practice or bad practice?
Bad practice only.
Why?
Yeah, actually, you have changed only one module, like cart. Sorry, I'm unable to see properly. Cart controller. So, but remaining didn't change anything. Why you are going deploy all these things? Suppose if you don't know anything, na another modules, if you didn't change anything by mistake, any changes, na it will impact prod, na. So that is the reason nowadays we are everyone accepting the microservices things only.
Now you understand, right? Why people are moving from typical monolithic architecture to microservice architecture. You got the point and reason behind it. Everybody.
Yes, I got. Yes.
Praneeth, Bhargavi, Judy, Ganesh,
Yes, sir.
Yes.
and Preeti. You all got the functionality and future flavor of what is microservice architecture, right? Now,
Yes.
coming to the monolithic to microservice, how the microservice will be happen? If you want, you can take this diagram. I'll give you notes. Let me complete the diagram and I will give you one by one with the notes. Don't worry. I'll give you 2 minutes time. You take a picture. Let's get into microservice architecture. Then, shall I move forward?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now what I'm planning to do, I go and create another new one. Here, I have a web server. A big web server I have. Okay. Let me give a small one. I have a very big server here. Think in this way, I'm going to build a microservice architecture. Now, for user, I'm going to have user management API. For product, I'm going to have product management API. Okay. For dispatcher, I'm going to have a dispatcher management API. For payment, I have a separate payment API. All these APIs have independent databases. All these APIs have independent databases. All these APIs have independent databases. Now tell me, what are all the names of these APIs? First API is what? User
Management.
API.
User API. Yes.
And this one is
Product
user
database.
And this one is
Product
API. And this one is product database. And this one is payment API, something like that. Okay, payment API. And I'm going to maintain a payment database. And last one is dispatcher API. Dispatcher API. And this one is dispatcher DB. Now tell me, whenever I make a change in my user API, do I need to worry about payment? Do I need to worry about product? Do I need to worry about dispatcher? When I
No.
build a service like this, do I need to worry about the corresponding modules?
No.
No.
Why?
Because it will directly link to that particular database only. So that's why we don't need to disturb other APIs or database.
That's perfect. So that is why these APIs are called as microservices. Now you understand? Any API you build independently, those APIs are called as microservices. Or you got my point? Your front end can be anything. It could be Angular, it could be Python, it could be Java, it could be even in these microservices, or that is first thing, you are coming out of monolithic architecture. Okay. In an organization, a person, I have 10 developers. Let's take an example. I have 10 developers. Out of 10 developers, do I need to go and develop everything in .NET? Is it really required? You need to think. Do I need to develop .NET for everybody?
No.
Why? Because
Y-
3 may know .NET, 5 may know Java, 3 may know Python. I can tell, hey, user management, I'm going to develop in .NET. User management, I'm going to develop in user management, I'm going to develop in which technology? Which technology I'm going to develop? .NET. Product API, I'm going to develop in Java. Payment API, I'm going to develop in Java. Dispatcher API, I'm going to develop in Python. Because I can share the resources. Is it an advantage or disadvantage for a company? Is it an advantage or disadvantage for a company? Think in this way. Praneeth, Pavan, Judy, Ganesh, Bhargav.
Yeah, this is the advantage.
Advantage.
This is an advantage. So a mix of people, a mix of technology people work together and build a microservice architecture. That's fine. Sir, all these are independent services, you said. Yes, okay. How do I need to connect with this application in Angular? I see here there is an Angular application. Got my point? I have a Angular based web application which is called Angular eStore application. How do I need to connect these APIs independently? For that, as part of microservice architecture, they have one more layer called API gateway. They have one more layer called what? API gateway. You got the point? Whenever
Yes.
you make a request from Angular, you cannot directly interact with this. You have to interact with API gateway. API gateway will decide that whether I need to talk to user API, whether I need to talk to product API, whether I need to talk to payment API, whether I need to talk to dispatcher API. This architecture is typically called as microservice architecture. Got the point? Everybody clear with the microservice architecture?
Yes.
Sir, but API gateway, what is work for API gateway, sir?
Come again?
Yeah, API gateway, what
API
is work
gateway
for?
is something similar to .NET in which you are going to implement Applet.
Okay, yeah. Yes.
Or you got my point?
Yes.
API gateway is a .NET code. It is also one of the microservice.
Okay. Yeah. Understand.
This is also a Priti. Are you able to understand?
Yes, sir.
I'm not able to hear your voice.
Yes, sir. Can you hear
It
me?
is developed in .NET using Aucklet framework. Okay? Aucklet framework. You got the point?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Amar? Amar, you got
Yeah.
the point. Bhargav?
Yes. Yeah. You told API gateway, it will be developed that one, the Arclet framework only.
Yes, using in .NET Aucklet framework.
Okay. That is available in the 2022 version.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Actually, in my company, I'm using the only Monolithic only, not microservices.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's why I
I'll
asked.
show you. I'll show you. If you go to here, the
Okay.
browse Aucklet. Or API gateway. See, get.aucklet is there. Oscillate.
Okay. Oscillate. Okay.
Oscillate is a API gateway based on .NET stack. You see the description here.
Okay. Now I understand. Yeah.
Or you got my point?
Yes.
So this API gateway Oscillate will help me to communicate with these APIs whenever I need it. You all understand how the request and response will be traversed. What is the way the Angular will give data to the API gateway? What is the format? Can you even tell me? What is the format of data will be traversed from Angular client application to API gateway?
Is it XML or
HTTP
JSON?
request,
HTTP request. In HTTP request, what are all the format you will have?
header and
XML or
body.
JSON?
Header and
Body.
body. What is the type of request it is? Is it a JSON or XML or some other experience?
JSON or XML.
JSON only. Nowadays, we are using all the JSON
Nowadays,
only.
we are using JSON.
Yes.
Nowadays, we are using JSON.
JSON.
Earlier, we are using
XML format.
XML format. This is the one we are going to build in your curriculum.
Application.
This is the entire application we are going to build. Anybody have any questions?
No, sir.
Okay, fine. Can you take this diagram? I'll go for MVC architecture explanation. MVC architecture, I require some half an hour to 40 minutes, but still I can give you overview. API, what technology we are going to use, Angular, what we are going to use, and what are all the things we are going to learn. Some nonsense has made something. Who is Lakshman? You all take the screenshot.
Done, sir.
Yes, sir, done.
Fine. Okay, can I go with new? Now let's talk about MVC architecture. Okay. Basically, the MVC architecture is something like this. I will show you. This is my entire architecture. Okay. Assume you are getting a request from outside. The first corresponding layer which will hit in your UI is middleware layer. I got my point. And then you will have a controller layer. Hold on a second. I'm taking here. I'll tell you the reason behind it. I have a middleware layer. I have a controller layer. I have a view layer. Okay. I have a service layer. I have a repository layer. And I will have a model layer. Okay. So this is how the architecture will be. Let me explain one by one. Whenever you make a request, the request will first come to middleware. Request will first come to middleware. Okay. And then that middleware will traverse the data to controller. And then it will also traverse to the view layer. And then I have a service layer. I will tell you each layer in detail by tomorrow. Another layer is repository layer. Okay, finally, it is go and connect with the database. Assume this is your database. This is your database. It could be any database. It could be SQL Server, MySQL, anything. And this is your model layer. This is your typical architecture in Microsoft MVC core. What will happen? The request will come from here. Middleware will take the request and give the request to the controller. Controller will give the request to the service. Service will give request to the repository. And the repository will go and talk to the database. Immediately, the database will give data here to the repository, service, and service again given to the controller. The controller will give data to the view to represent the data. That represented data will again given to the middleware. Middleware give the response back. This is how the flow will happen. Everybody clear with the flow? If you are understanding typically with this architecture, everybody clear with this?
Yes.
Bhargavi, Ganesh,
Yes, sir.
Amar, Judy,
Yes, sir.
Preeti,
Yes, sir.
Pranit. Pranit, are you there? So now what happened? See, all these layers, middleware layer, controller layer, view layer, service layer, repository layer are containing only methods. Just to calling a method from repository to service to repository, controller to service, controller to view, middleware to controller. The methods will be available. Whereas data will be available in the model. I got my point. Whenever you hit the middleware layer, model will get the data. Whenever you want to get the data from the controller, model will be available. Whenever you want to get a data from model, service. So which layer is traversing the data? Which one is holding the data? In which layer the data will be holding?
Model.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
1 second. Which layer is holding the data? The data always
Model.
held in the model. Middleware, controller, view, service, repository, everything will be a method. Let me show you one small project in that. We are going to develop everything. Don't worry about it. Just I'm going to give you some insights. Open a project or solution. How many layers we have here? Anyone can tell me? How many layers we have?
5.
5. In that you will have controller, you will have view, you will have middleware. Okay. So in a single project, middleware, view, controller, model, view, controller you will have, view you will have, and you will have middleware. Or you got my point? Only 3 projects are available. So as part of MVC architecture, let's take here ASP.NET MVC core contain 6 different layers. 6 different layers. What are all the layers? Can anyone tell me? First layer, middleware layer. Middleware layer. Second layer, controller layer. Third layer, view layer. Fourth layer, model layer. Fifth layer, service layer. Sixth layer, repository layer. Got the point? Middleware, view, controller, all 3 are available in a single project, which is called best store. And you see there is a model layer. In the model layer, you will have like this product model, ID, product name. All these we are going to build in future series. Don't worry about it. This is how the files will be available. After model layer, you will have a service layer. This is how the service will be available. You are going to map your request and then you will call the service. I got the point. Finally, you will have a repository layer. Where is that repository layer? This is the one. This is how it is. The product DB context will talk to the database. This is the typical architecture we are following in MVC code. Got the point? Everybody clear?
Yes.
So let's go one by one detailing by tomorrow, same time 11:30, and we will discuss the remaining topic. Let me talk about as part of this curriculum. What are all the things we are going to learn? Okay. The first one we are going to talk about implementing ASP.NET Core Web API. In this Core Web API, we are going to learn about controllers. We are going to learn about repositories, repository, in which entity, core, framework, code first approach. Okay. Second point, third point, we are going to learn about service layer, in which we are going to talk about IOC and dependency injection. Third layer, exposing service using Swagger API. exposing service using Swagger. Like that, we are going to build 4 services. What is my first service? First one is user service. Second one is product service. Third one is order service. Fourth one is payment service. This is how we are going to build it. Once we develop everything, the second topic we are going to use API gateway, building API gateway. For that, we are going to use Ocelot API gateway framework. API gateway framework. Okay, everybody clear? Come on, guys, please say yes, no.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Third one is, once we build this Ocelot framework, we are going to build an application using Angular UI framework, which we are required these many hours. Okay. And fourth one is, we are going to talk about Azure DevOps, Azure deployment of these frameworks, these microservices. Fifth one is, see, in product service, you have images, right? In product, Ganesh?
Yes, sir,
Bhargavi,
yes.
in product, you will deploy images, right? I showed you, right, how the images will be there. For that,
Yes.
you require Azure blob storage. We are going to learn that as well. I'm not going to store any image or Word document in my local. I'm going to store everything in my Azure. Finally, I'm going to help you to build CI/CD pipeline. CI/CD pipeline. Whenever you make change in a particular service, the auto deployment will happen. So that is how we are going to build the Microsoft Azure framework. Anybody have any questions so far? Feel free to ask your questions.
Yes, sir. Is there any prerequisite for this
Yeah.
course?
Coming back to the prerequisites, basic C# is enough. C#.NET is enough. And little bit of HTML and CSS knowledge. That's all. No required
sir.
more. Remaining all I
But,
will take care.
sir,
that, yeah.
I do not have any knowledge on that basic.
Okay, that I can provide you. That I can give you the material. 1 second. I will give you the material. You can take it up. If at all somebody want to learn C#, I give you. Or I can connect you with a different timing to teach the 20 classes. Don't worry about it. Just
Okay.
go. I will show you. Go to YouTube. Say, this is the one. In this, go to playlist. You see C#? Are you able
Yes,
to
sir.
see a C#?
Yeah.
You can take this one and you can take this one.
Okay. Yeah, HTML, CSS is fine, but I don't know about C#.
Yeah, that's what. You can take this one.
Okay.
Okay. You take this one. That is more sufficient for me. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, sir.
You can learn hardly. If you want, I can give you the drive access also. I believe already I given to Bhargavi. If you want, you can take it.
Yeah, sure, sir. That would be nice if you can
Yeah.
provide me the access.
Praneeth, Preeti, you all aware of this, right? I don't see any challenge for you.
Yes, sir.
Amar?
Yes,
Ganesh?
yes. I know everything up to everything. Actually, I'm working the Angular also, just a little bit working on that one. So that's the reason I joined the class. Presently, I'm
What
working
about
the .NET.
Ganesh?
Yeah, I'm going with the C# videos, sir. Yeah,
From whom?
yeah, C#. So I don't know about C#, the HTML. I'll go through these videos. Yeah.
Okay, fine. Or you do one thing, you ping me your mail ID. I will give you those videos directly. Okay?
Okay. I'll ping you my mail.
Fine. Judy, you can also provide that. Everybody send me your mail ID.
Yes.
Okay, I can share that.
Send me
You
your
can
mail.
download and use it. Okay. WhatsApp me.
What
Okay?
number, sir? What number? Number.
How you joined?
Okay, like that only. Okay.
You got the email, right? You got the
Yes.
invite.
Yes. Okay, I will send like that. Yeah. Okay. Sir, can I drop? Actually, I have 11:13 client meeting is there.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, up to the session continue how many hours? 10:30 to
11:30, 1 hour. Daily 1 hour.
11:30.
Just 2 minutes, let me finish. Daily 1 hour.
Okay.
Monday to Friday.
Monday to Friday.
If required, Saturday we can connect. Okay.
Then no.
It will complete in. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And fees, I'm planning. Okay. We'll discuss. Any concerns, issues, please call me. Okay. Everybody clear?
Yes, sir. I will
Yes.
call you later,
Yeah.
sir. Okay, today I will call you.
Yeah, fine. Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a great day. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.